And last, if not the least, I think it's the law. The law is where things get really fucked up. Absolutely fucked up. It is Emirati versus non-Emirati. That's how the law works. See, keep in mind, even if you're rich, even if you're powerful, but an Emirati complains against you, the chances of you winning is slim to none. Because Emiratis have a lot of power. And there are many cases whereby, let's say a non-Emirati has won. I spoke to one guy. He has a Western passport. He took this Emirati to court. This has happened lately. He took this Emirati to court and he won the case. But then when he explained to me how long it took, how much were the lawyers' fees, how much were the court fees, how much was everything, I was like, fuck. It was better you just let that guy take the money and run away. He just did it out of principle. See, the amount of assistance, favoritism and support that an Emirati will get in an Emirati court, in an Emirati police station, in an Emirati judicial system, it's impossible. Like, I'll give you 2 or 3 specific incidents from people I personally know, including my own example, to prove this point to you. This is an actual incident that has happened. This happened when I was in my, I think, 30s. I was driving a Lexus RX 330. I've said this incident before. I was driving a Lexus RX 330. Front of me was a Nissan Sunny. You know, not Nissan Sunny, Nissan, some car which all these Arabs like to drive. We were driving, I think it was a 3-lane road or 2-lane road. In same direction. This side there were shops. See, here there are shops, 2-lane. So I'm driving here. You know, some people park their cars here. And this guy stopped here. He has just stopped. He's not moving. And he's talking to his friend. And just empty there. You're not supposed to stop in the middle of the road and chat. So I honked. He's not bothered. Finally, he did this. He was like this. He lifted his hand like this and just like, fuck off. So I told him, I horned and told him, fuck you. Shouldn't have said that because it's not allowed. That time there was no such rule that you can't say fuck you or flip a finger. But I flipped a finger and told him fuck you, and I came, and when I looked at him inside, when I came front, I said, what the fuck, and I drove off. As I was driving front, there was a roundabout, and the exact roundabout is, you know, where St. Michael's Church, Sharjah, it's called now the mobile phone roundabout. Or Nesnas roundabout, later on it came to be known. Now I don't know what is the roundabout, what's the name. So this is before the Sharjah post office. This is a roundabout, and then you go straight ahead is the Sharjah post office. So before that roundabout is this one where the church is, St. Michael's Church used to be there. And before that, you get all the Filipino joints, Indian joints. I'm talking of nearly 10, 20 years ago. So this roundabout, finally, I came there, I was waiting, I said, fuck off to that guy before. Once I crossed in the middle of the bloody roundabout, okay, he started to come in front of me and try to make me stop. But my blood was boiling. Those days I was a bodybuilder. Like, fuck you, whatever you want to do, hit. I didn't allow him to come in my lane. So then I saw him drive off. I exited out of the roundabout. And I came in front of, yeah, you know, obviously in the road. Again, I'm on this side. To my shock and surprise, this guy from somewhere, he came and parked right in front of me, stopped his car. I stopped. Obviously can't hit now. I stopped. Next thing I know, this guy gets out of the car. Kandura, you know Kandura, the white. And you know, he has tied white like this. Comes next to my car. My Lexus. Normal way. You know, that's how they get it. You what? You India? Yes, India. You local? No, he said, yeah. No, he said India or something. He said, I local. He identified I was Indian. That time no tattoos. So he said, "Aye, local, local." And he went to his car and he was slamming the number plate. It was like single digits, same 000 something. Slamming the number plate. Local, 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 he was shouting. So I said, "I'm international." I said, "Whatever the fuck," and I moved out. Now I moved out. I didn't think much of it. I drove back to the office. As soon as I landed in the office, next thing I know, my owner calls me. I was very close to the owner. I was working for Quick Electric those days. The owner calls me and says, "Lawyer, there's a call from a police station. They've asked you to come there. Seems there's some complaint." I was like, "Oh fuck, what happened now?" And I couldn't make head or tail of what was happening. And they gave the place where the incident took place, nearby was a police station. So they had called me there. So I doubt it was the same thing. But okay, fine. Finally I went there. Parked my car. I was wearing a full suit. Went inside. As soon as I went in, I was scared, I'll tell you that. Because this was my first time I actually went in a police station. And after I went, they called me to, they took my ID card and everything. They called me to, they gave it back, so they knew who I was. Called me to the inspector's main office. I went there I saw a Sudanese or Somali, must have been Sudanese, because it was African, whatever, but maybe Arab, but black guy. So then when I looked and saw at the side, I came in, there was that same Emirati guy. And this time he wore his royal kandura with proper, looking like a sheikh, nicely dressed. And said, this, he said in Arabic, "Yeah, this guy." I can't remember what he says. Yeah, something he said. And then, idhar aao. You know Arabic. "Tum kidhar ka?" He asked me, "Where are you from?" Yes, "Kidhar ka?" Where? I said, "India." "India?" Then say, "India Kachara." He said, "You India Kachara." I'll tell you, I was so scared. I was like, "Yeah, India Kachara." This local, this Emirati, "You fight Emirati? You show angry? Wallah, you finish." Fuck, I was so scared, man. Then said, "Nikalo passport, nikalo license." He took my ID card, he took my passport. Tum khalas, finish. And he told, "Tum jail." I was like, sir, sorry. I was repeating sorry 100 times. But he asked this constable guy, inspector guy, to put me inside. Fuck, man, they took me. You know, I was so scared, I didn't know what was falling there. Opened one door. There was one guy sitting there reading newspaper. Went in. And then, second door, there's a guy sitting there reading newspaper. He opened the door, went in. You know, it's like, not the steel bars. You know, it's like a door, metal, with only a few bars where you can see through. Took me inside there. As soon as he took me inside there was a place there where all these guys, what I realized, majority of them, Bangladeshi and labor class Pathans and all that, all were seated on the floor. There was a constable or somewhere, or officer, who was sitting there reading a newspaper. And there was a table there. There was a open toilet, I think pissing or something, but there was a partition. Fuck. I was like, what the fuck? There was no AC, nothing. So sitting there. And there was a mutawa, I think Bangladeshi, who was reading the Quran, and a lot of people were sitting around and listening to the Quran. Now, because I was wearing a suit, this guy made me sit on a chair. Beto. He was a little polite. I was so scared. So then he asked me, "Kya ho gaya?" I told him what happened. Sandum khalas. Fuck, I was so scared. Now they made me wait for half an hour or something. Then finally they called me out again. I think that inspector and him were having tea, coffee or whatever. And they called me again. Obviously I could see tea, coffee, a couple of cigarettes. And so then he says, "Kya? So I joined my hands. Please, sir, sorry, sir, sorry. I caught his hand. Please, sorry, please. Yeah, lesh, and this. So then that inspector asked, okay, what to do? So then this guy, Marif, I don't know. I said, please, sorry. And he asked him in Arabic, do you have any problem? He said, Marif, I don't know what to do. You do. So then he said, I kept saying, sorry. He told, okay, take this guy inside. Take this guy. I thought I was finished. He took me again inside, waited for another 45 minutes or so. And then they called me back. When they called me back, this local guy had gone. And then this guy sitting. And then he asked me, you'll get angry again? I said, no. You'll act funny again? I said, no. Everything I said, sorry, million times I said. They're saying, but he told me this one sentence which I'll remember. UAE, ye local, Emirati #1, India, Kachara. He told me. He said, tum India, tum Kachara. Okay? I said, yes sir. Finally, he let me go. Gave my stuff. I was shaken badly. When I came out, that owner had sent the accounts guy and HR guy. They were waiting out, and thankfully nothing happened. So that kind of shook me to the roots. So that was one incident. The only other small incident, which I don't want to go too much in detail, when there were accidents, like if you hit someone from back, in UAE there's a rule. If your car is in the front, someone hits you from back, the person who hit you from back is at fault. Okay, that's a normal thumb rule. I've had my own personal friends who the guy, if he's an Emirati and he's hit you from back, when he was taken to the police station, obviously police says who's at fault. But when they go to the police station, they tell, Baba, ye aadmi bola, they would say in Hindi, means, ye aadmi bola, Allah ke naam, tum usko mara. Means in the name of Allah, he swore on Quran that you hit him. How can a guy, like my friend, I don't want to take his name, at a signal where you're supposed to go front, he says you reversed and you hit him. He's saying, no, but it's proof. He's saying, okay, ye Muslim, wo Islam ka naam liya, Quran ka naam liya, chalo, tum jail mein baito. And this guy can go home. Then he said like, okay, fine, it's my fault. They make them sign the paper that it's his fault. Now this is very common now. Obviously you'll say that, yeah, but they are not following the rule. They are corrupt people. But then if you look at a higher level, all the court cases where there's a case against an Emirati, a powerful Emirati, you'll never win. In fact, do you know this? My student who was a Emirati woman, Arab woman, whom I trained for a championship public speaking global event. She's not full Emirati, half Emirati. She put a false claim that I tried to destroy her name and reputation. That's another incident. If you want to know, I'll make a separate video on that. She made a police complaint. I showed the evidence that I've not done anything wrong. It was a matter of ego. We had an ego clash finally. So she said I spoiled her name, and the inspector told me, if an Emirati complains against you, okay, especially if a woman Emirati, the directive from the ruler is, as an expat, you're guilty until proven innocent. But if you're an... Yes? What you want? Yes? My baby. Anyway, so if you're an Emirati, no, if you're an expat, the rule is you're guilty until proven innocent. But if you're an Emirati, you're innocent until proven guilty. And Emirati complains about you, they'll take you to jail without evidence, especially if it's a lady. And if they bring out their race is Islam, Allah, or defamation against the ruler, or finish, no evidence is required. They'll put you in jail until they do the investigation. Investigation can take years. So overall, if I give you a full rounded picture in summary, I would just tell you this much. Number one is UAE supports its locals. That is without a doubt. Okay? The upper hand an Emirati has. Never get into an argument. Never get into a fight with a Emirati local, especially if it's a lady. And especially where Allah and Islam and And if a guy is powerful and he knows contacts connections, better say sorry, catch their legs, put your head on their legs, kiss their feet, you're better off. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, where the corporate industry is concerned, whiter your passport, higher your pay grade. Before, in the early 70s and 80s, you didn't need to be smart, you could just bullshit and have an accent. And white skin, white passport, they would pay much more. Because they wanted whites, they considered white superior. That is why so many Emiratis always will flaunt their white girlfriends. They will never flaunt Indian girlfriends or black girls because they like white. They'll never hold hands with the African girl. Always whites. They like to shop in white countries, be with whites. Okay, and in whites I will also give you category. The British, maybe because the British ruled the Arab countries, or British have the upper hand. Next is Americans, and because of today's power play. Then comes Australians. I've known Australians who are even plumbers and electricians being appointed as directors. Seriously, huh? But an Indian, even if you have a PhD and masters, they might make you a plumber from a director. But nowadays, because they know Indians bring a lot of wealth of talent and skill, they give them better, because you'll never get a quality educated Indian or Pakistani wanting to work for shit. And last but not the least, just remember that no country is perfect, no individuals are perfect, and everyone likes to work through their loopholes. So overall, this has been my experience with UAE. If you want to know that personal incident, I can tell you in a separate thing about that local female, how she trapped me, tried to get me trapped. But anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think I'm right or wrong in the comment section below? And yeah, as usual, man, it's me signing off. You guys take care. This is me saying bye.